Millionaire's heartwarming decision exposed. When he discovers a pregnant cleaner in the rain, everything changes. Jack Adams sped through the rain-soaked streets of Chicago, the city lights reflecting brightly off his sleek, black sports car. Inside his plush, leather interior, the world felt miles away, a disconnected blur of luxuries. Yet, beneath the polished surface, an emptiness gnawed at him, a hollow feeling that accompanied his every victory. Tonight's gala had showcased his wealth, but it hadn't filled the void as thunder rumbled overhead. He caught a glimpse of something that made his heart skip, a figure huddled beneath the icy overpass. In that moment, he felt an inexplicable pull. There she was, Mia, a pregnant cleaner, desperately shielding herself from the torrential downpour with her frail arms. Her clothes were worn and tattered, and her shoes were more holes than fabric. He pulled over without thinking. The world outside was chaotic with the storm, but all he could focus on was her. When she looked up, the surprise in her eyes mixed with the determination etched on her face struck him deeply. Turning off the engine, he stepped into the rain, feeling the cold droplets soak through his tailored suit. "Are you okay?" he shouted over the wind. I'm trying," she replied, her voice shaky yet fierce. The way she spoke, a blend of hope and despair, left him breathless. She was juggling 3 jobs, caring for a sick father, and now she carried a child. In that moment, Jack felt alive. Her struggles mirrored the ones whispered about at galas, but brushed aside as mere statistics. He could see the warmth in her eyes, a spark too often drowned out by hardship. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days turned into weeks, and Jack found himself drawn deeper into Mia's world. He visited her small apartment, cramped but filled with makeshift strength. The walls were adorned with reminders of love, resilience, and community. One moment stood out. Mia's father sat on the threadbare couch, pride flickering in his tired eyes as he shared stories of their family's struggle. Each story revealed truths about life, resilience, and hard work. But Jack wasn't just here to offer charity. Despite his best intentions with donations and luxury gifts, he realized that Mia craved respect and dignity. He couldn't just throw money at the problem. He needed to understand. He felt an urgent need to elevate their conversation to something larger, something meaningful. In the town hall meeting that followed, standing before a local councilman, Jack's voice stammered, more from disbelief than nerves. "Mia deserves more than pity. We need to challenge these systems that keep people like her trapped." The crowd fell silent, eyes glued to him. He could feel their judgment as much as their curiosity. Jack was exposed, vulnerable. The room buzzed with tension. Would he lose the elite status that had defined him for so long? As Mia watched from the back, the weight of countless possibilities rested on Jack's shoulders. He felt a stirring deep inside, a call to action. Gathering courage, he stepped closer, ready to face the truth of his identity. The rain began to ease as he wondered how this fight would change him forever. In a world so divided, could he really make a difference? Jack took a deep breath, the silence in the room amplifying the sound of his heartbeat. He scanned the faces in the crowd, some curious, others skeptical. Uncertainty clouded their expressions, but behind those looks lay a flicker of hope. He realized in that moment that he had ignited something. Mia's not just a statistic, he continued, his voice rising with passion. She's a mother, a daughter, and a resilient fighter. We need to support those like her, not just with coins and charity, but with a voice and agency. He stepped down from the platform, feeling lighter, empowered as he looked directly into Mia's eyes. Her gaze warmed him, her trust palpable. It was a silent acknowledgement that they were in this together. When the meeting ended, the atmosphere shifted. People began to approach him, sharing their thoughts, their own stories. A young woman, near tears, told Jack about her struggles as a single parent. A man chimed in, expressing frustrations over the lack of support in their community. Jack felt the collective weight of their stories. It was both an honor and a burden. Leaving the hall, He stood outside, breathless from the intensity. The rain had stopped, but the air was thick with possibility. Mia approached him, her eyes gleaming, reflecting the streetlights around them. "You were amazing tonight," she said, her voice steady. "You stood up for us." "I couldn't stand back," he replied, feeling a new level of responsibility settle onto his shoulders. "But it's not just about me. It's about enacting real change. We need to gather people, organize resources, connect stories." Mia nodded. "I see so much more in you now, Jack. This fight is pushing you to discover who you really are." But doubt lingered in Jack's mind. What if he failed? What if the wealthy elite rejected his newfound purpose? However, Mia's belief in him flickered like a flame, igniting a determination that he didn't know he possessed. In the following days, Jack threw himself into a new project, establishing a nonprofit aimed at advocating for marginalized voices. Late nights turned into early mornings as he met with local leaders, gathered donations, and brainstormed outreach programs. Mia often stood by his side, guiding him through the community's struggles, sharing the reality she faced with grace and tenacity. One evening, they sat at her small kitchen table, papers scattered around, ideas flowing like the neighborhood chatter outside. As the sun dipped below the skyline, casting a warm glow inside, Jack felt an emotional current pulse between them. "Thanks for being my partner in this," he said earnestly. "I'm not just your partner," Mia replied, a smirk breaking the seriousness. "I'm your biggest supporter." Laughter filled the room, breaking the tension. Yet, within the warmth of shared moments, Jack discovered feelings he hadn't considered. As they leaned in, the air felt charged and ripe for something more. Possibility expanded before them. But just as he opened his mouth to speak, Mia's phone buzzed, fracturing the intimate moment. She glanced at the screen, her expression shifting to concern. "Jack, it's my dad. He has been taken to the hospital." Panic surged through him. How could this happen now, when everything seemed to be taking a turn for the better? "Let us go," Jack said, his heart racing. A new weight settled on him suddenly. Their struggle felt more personal. As he raced to the door, he felt a twist in his gut. Had he really prepared himself for everything on this new path? In the fast-paced drive to the hospital, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that this moment would change everything for both him and Mia. What would they find waiting for them? The hospital loomed ahead, its stark lights cutting through the night like a beacon of urgency. Jack parked hastily, and they rushed inside. A chill gripped his heart as he trailed behind Mia, who moved swiftly, a mix of determination and dread etched on her face. "Stay strong," he whispered, though he felt anything but. The waiting room engulfed them in sterile white, a realm filled with hushed anxieties. Mia took a deep breath as they approached the reception desk. "Is my father here?" Her voice trembled. The receptionist looked up, her features unreadable. "Please have a seat. I'll get someone to assist you." They sank into plastic chairs, the sounds of distant beeping machines filling the silence. Jack watched as Mia's hands fidgeted, twisting her bracelet. He reached out, placing his hand over hers. "Hey, I'm here," he said softly. "Whatever happens, we'll face it together." Mia's breath caught, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. "I don't know if I can't lose him, Jack. He is my rock." His heart tightened. He had seen her struggle first for her own life, and now for her father. And yet, there was also an unbreakable strength within her. "Mia, he has fought through so much. He has not done yet." "Hold on to that thought," Jack replied, unable to mask the concern that clawed at him. Minutes turned into hours. Every tick of the clock felt like 1,000-pound weights pressing down on them. Nurses would occasionally come and go, offering brief updates that felt both crucial and maddeningly vague. Finally, a doctor approached. He had weary eyes, but a reassuring smile. "Mia, I have news about your father." The air stilled around them. Jack watched as Mia's whole being shifted, her body tense with both fear and hope. "Is he going to be okay?" she asked, her voice steady yet laced with vulnerability. The doctor nodded slowly, relief flooding Jack's chest. "He is stable, but he needs time to recover. We're out of danger for now." Mia's breath escaped in a rush, and she collapsed into Jack's side, the tension releasing like a tightly wound spring. Thank you," she murmured, unable to contain her emotions. Jack wrapped an arm around her, feeling her warmth seep into him. "Just breathe," he murmured, Feeling his own heart start to beat a little easier, Mia pulled back, wiping her tears with the back of her hand. Her smile was radiant yet tinged with worry. We need to see him. The doctor gestured them to follow him down the hallway, each step bringing them closer to the moment they would see him. Jack's mind raced with thoughts of family, health, and the fragile balance of life. When they entered the room, the sight of Mia's father, frail and hooked up to machines, twisted Jack's stomach. But seeing the look of relief on Mia's face was worth the ache. Her dad opened his eyes, recognizing them. "Hey, kiddo," he rasped with a smile. "Dad." Mia rushed to his side, tears spilling again as she took his hand. Jack stayed close, feeling like an anchor amidst their emotional storm. "Looks like you've picked a good one, Mia," her father murmured, glancing up at Jack. "Just trying to help where I can," Jack replied, his voice steady, even as he felt vulnerable under the weight of that gaze. In that small hospital room, with their lives hanging in the balance, everything shifted. Jack thought of the mission they were building together, their shared fight for community, hope, and change. But for now, it was about family. But as Mia leaned in closer to her father, Jack couldn't shake a sense of foreboding creeping back in. Would he have the strength to keep fighting? What would they face after this moment of relief? The uncertainty clawed at him that as they left the hospital later that night. Jack felt a shift within him, deep and unshakable. He turned to Mia, catching her eye. "There's something we need to talk about, something important." Her expression shifted, curious yet anxious. "What is it?" He hesitated, knowing this revelation could change everything. "It's about the nonprofit. We can make it bigger, better. But it'll take us both stepping into the unknown." Mia's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" "I think we need to expand our mission. Get others involved, really involved." Every heartbeat echoed with potential and risk. They stood on the precipice of change, and Jack could feel the weight of the run ahead. As they stepped into the cool night air, Mia asked, "Are you sure about this?" "More than ever," he replied, their eyes locking fiercely. But the looming question remained. Would they be ready to face the challenges ahead? The air outside was heavy, thick with anticipation as they walked to the car. The night felt electric, the stars like silent spectators to the turmoil unfolding within them. Jack kept glancing at Mia, his heart bouncing like a pinball. She looked determined but vulnerable, battling shadows lingering in her gaze. "Jack, this could change everything," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I know, but it's a chance to do something really meaningful," Jack replied, urging her to see the bigger picture. He wanted her to feel the pull of possibility, the rush that came with pushing against the edges of comfort. They climbed into the car, and the engine rumbled to life. The soft noise of the radio skimming over the airwaves barely broke through the tension between them. Jack caught sight of Mia's reflection in the rearview mirror, a storm brewing beneath the calm facade that as he drove, the city lights glinted off the windshield. Each flicker seemed to light up the weight of their thoughts. "So what are you thinking exactly?" Mia finally asked, breaking the silence. "Imagine expanding our outreach, not just helping a few families, but connecting with local businesses and schools, bringing in volunteers. We could bring the community together, make it a movement." Jack's voice quickened with passion, but he noticed Mia's brow furrowed deeper. "What is the catch, Jack?" she queried, skepticism creeping into her tone. "This isn't just about us anymore. We'd be risking everything we built." He recognized the fear in her eyes. "I wouldn't suggest it if I didn't believe we could handle it. We're stronger together, Mia. You know that." She fell silent, staring out at the blurred streets, lost in thought. Jack focused back on the road, the faint hum of uncertainty seeping into his own resolve. "I'm not saying it'll be easy. I know it's going to be tough." Mia turned to him suddenly, her eyes bright with a mix of doubt and hope. "What if we fail? Then we'll get back up," Jack responded without hesitating. "We've come this far, haven't we? We didn't let anything stop us before." He saw the faintest flicker of hope in her expression, encouraging him to push further. "What if we make it bigger than we ever imagined?" she asked, her voice hesitating, both eager and terrified at the prospect. Jack smiled gently. "Then we celebrate together. Charge into the sunset, knowing we made a difference." That earned a small laugh from her. Yet the weight of what they were proposing hung thick, like a storm cloud just waiting to burst. Jack reached for her hand over the gear shift, their fingers intertwining a grounding presence in the whirlwind of thoughts and emotions swirling around them as they neared her home. He felt an urge to reveal one last thought. Mia, if we go down this route, it might draw more attention to us. People will notice our effort. They'll be inspired, and it might not just be families we reach. It could be anyone. Her expression shifted, a tinge of fear creeping back in. Like who? They might want to get involved for their own reasons. Some may not be genuine. He paused, weighing his words. It could mean we're opening ourselves up to scrutiny. Mia took a deep breath, processing the weight of his message. So it's not just about the organization anymore. It'll be about us, too. About how we're viewed. Exactly, he said softly. But maybe that can work in our favor. She sat back, her mind racing. Jack felt her pull away, wrestling with what lay ahead. I need time to think about it, she said finally, pulling her hand away. Of course, he quickly assured her, sensing the internal battle within. As they arrived at her house, the atmosphere thickened again, a crossroads ahead. We'll figure it out, together, Jack promised, stepping from the car to walk her to the door. Before they reached the steps, Mia halted, turning to him with a newfound resolve. I don't want to just take a step, I want to leap. But I need to know you'll be there to catch me when I fall. Jack nodded, his heart swelling. I will always. But as she opened the door and stepped inside, he realized they were standing at the edge of something life-changing. What lay ahead was unknown, and suddenly they both needed to decide how deep their commitment truly ran. Jack took a breath, bracing himself for what would come next. The challenge of building something bigger was in the air. If they jumped, would they soar? Or would they fall not just in their mission, but also in how it would test their bond? He knew the next few days would be crucial. Decisions made now would ripple into everything they had built, and every troubled notion hung like a promise unfulfilled. The question loomed: how far would they go to change the world? As he turned to leave, one last thought echoed in his mind. Could they face the chaos of truth head-on, together? The next morning dawned with a soft light filtering through Jack's curtains, but the unease from the night before lingered like a stubborn shadow. His mind was a whirlpool of thoughts, looping around the possibilities of their project. He should have felt exhilarated, but instead there was a deep knot of worry coiled in his stomach. With determination, he pushed the thought of disappointment aside and grabbed his phone. He texted Mia, asking if they could meet for coffee. He needed to gauge where she stood, and maybe, just maybe, fan the flicker of hope he saw in her eyes last night. When he arrived at the cafe, the aroma of fresh coffee wrapped around him like a comforting blanket. He spotted Mia seated at a corner table, her fingers tracing the rim of a mug, as if contemplating the universe's biggest dilemmas. She looked up at him as he approached, her expression a mix of apprehension and expectation. Hey, he said, mustering a smile. I'm glad you could make it. Hi, she replied softly, her voice a little steadier than he remembered. I've been thinking a lot, actually. Good. The word tumbled out before he could check it. It was the thought he needed to hear, a promise of possibility. What are you thinking? Mia took a deep breath, her hands wrapping around her mug like a lifebuoy. I see the potential in what we could do, Jack. But it's huge. Am I ready for this? Are any of us ever ready for big leaps? He countered. No one wakes up prepared. Sometimes we just have to trust ourselves to figure it out as we go. She regarded him for a moment, searching his eyes for something reassurance. Maybe. I've always been the safe one. You're the dreamer. And you're the heart, he replied. We balance each other. Just think about all those families we've helped. What if we could do 10 times that? It doesn't have to be perfect right away. We just need to start. A spark ignited behind her eyes, and there was a flicker of that eagerness he had seen last night. Okay, she said slowly. If we do this, we need to ensure we have a solid plan. I don't want to rush in blind. What if we get overwhelmed? We'll start small, Jack suggested. We could host a community event to raise awareness. Get businesses involved and gauge the response. If it begins to grow, we adapt. No pressure if it doesn't take off immediately. Maybe you're right. She nodded gently, then her smile slipped just a bit. But we need to be prepared for critics. Not everyone will support us. True, Jack agreed. He could see her draining the hope from the moment. But think of it this way, every critic is an opportunity for us to prove them wrong. We can show the impact of our work. Mia's gaze softened. Okay, she breathed. Let us do it together. But the first thing we need to agree on is communication. We can't avoid the hard talks when things get tough. Jack grinned, his heart racing anew. Deal. We're a team, Mia. For every leap, there will be a net us. As they finalized plans for their upcoming event, excitement bubbled up in Jack. It felt like something extraordinary was just around the corner. They began sketching out ideas, from the logistics to the vision. The cafe disappeared around them, replaced by a vibrant future, but as they laughed, tossing ideas back and forth, the weight of reality settled back on their shoulders. With inspiration came responsibility. Jack felt the daunting echo of decisions made, the pressure of public scrutiny looming. Just as Mia started to talk about local partnerships, she paused and looked at him, her expression shifting abruptly. What if we lose ourselves in this? Then we find a way back. He reached across the table, his hand brushing hers. We'll always find a way back. But deep inside, Jack wondered if that was wishful thinking. Were they truly ready for what lay ahead? The world outside felt both bright and dark, a precarious balance waiting to tip. Days flickered by, each moment building momentum, and with every step forward, the air filled with tension. Yet, as they prepared to take the plunge into the unknown, Jack sensed an impending revelation. That could alter everything. Life's not easy, Mia said suddenly, her voice steady as they walked out of the cafe, but it's more meaningful when you share it. Do we have what it takes? Jack held her gaze, his heart thrumming. We have each other. But there's something you need to know about me before we go any further. The air thickened as he searched for the right words. What truth was he about to expose? And could it change everything they just built? Jack took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his words pressing on his chest like a storm cloud. He knew this was a pivotal moment, one that could shift the dynamics of their partnership entirely. Eyes locked, he felt exposed, as if every intention he had hidden was now laid bare before Mia. It's not just about the project, he said softly, the words coming out ragged. The truth is, I've been dealing with some serious things. I've had a hard time with finances lately. My family's business is struggling, and I don't want to drag you into my mess. I'm scared this could all fall apart, and it might take us with it. Mia's expression shifted from curiosity to concern. She leaned in, brows furrowing. Jack, why didn't you tell me? We're in this together. I know, he replied, wringing his hands under the table. But I didn't want to burden you. I kept thinking that maybe I could handle it by myself. I've always been good at sorting things out alone, but this is different. Mia studied him hard, her eyes searching for cracks in his brave front. You don't have to handle everything alone anymore. That's what partnership means. Jack nodded, the tension in his shoulders beginning to ease. I just didn't want you to feel obligated to stay. This could blow up in our faces, and I didn't want you to bear the weight of my worries. You're not getting rid of me that easily, she said, her smile flickering over her lips. I care about you. I care about this. And I want to let you run away just because things get tough. Her words twisted something deep inside Jack, a warmth spreading through him. In that moment, he knew he'd made the right choice in trusting her with his fears. They were more than just friends or partners in a project. They were a team here, through good and bad. Okay, he managed, his voice steadier now. Then we face this together. But you need to know that it might be a rough ride. I've been on rough rides before, Mia replied, her gaze unwavering. I care about what we're building. We're going to make it work, and we will prove everyone wrong. Pumping with newfound determination, they dove back into their plans, adjustments and modifications flying between them like sparks. With each word, Jack felt hope a vivid, pulsing thing grow stronger. But just as everything felt like it could come together, they were interrupted by the cheerful chime of a bell above the cafe door. A woman entered, drenched from the rain outside. Jack noticed her frizzy hair clinging to her cheeks, and her clothes were soaked. An elderly lady in a corner of the cafe glanced up, raising an eyebrow at the newcomer. Do you need help? Jack found himself asking before he could stop. The woman looked lost, eyes scanning the cafe until they locked onto his. Just trying to find shelter, she stammered, stepping further inside, water pooling around her shoes. Mia shot Jack a concerned look, then stood. Why don't we get her a towel or something warm to drink? Right? Yeah, Jack said, the instinct to care kicking in. But as they approached the woman, he felt a knot of concern twist in his stomach. Who was she? Why was she out in the rain? As they gathered supplies from behind the counter, Jack whispered to Mia, what if she's fleeing something? We need to be cautious. Mia nodded thoughtfully, her brow furrowing. But if she needs help, we can't just turn our backs on her. This is what we want to do. Make a difference, right? Before Jack could respond, the woman turned to them. Is it all right if I sit? I really don't have anywhere else to go. A silence hung between them, pregnant with possibility, and Jack felt the stark realization that their world was growing bigger and more complex than he'd anticipated. Of course, he managed, the implications of their conversation spiraling into uncertain territory. Mia gently ushered the woman to sit, and Jack could feel tension settle around them like a new form of weight. As the woman sank into the chair, Jack's mind raced with questions: who was she, and what stories hid beneath her rain-soaked exterior? As she lifted her gaze, a flash of fear haunted her eyes. That same wave of protectiveness surged in Jack. But before he could reach for the questions, she spoke, the soft tremor in her voice setting the stage for something that would change everything. Please, you need to understand. I'm not just lost. There's more going on than you can imagine. Jack felt the air thicken. What had they just stepped into? And was this the tipping point that would unravel the plans they had so carefully crafted together? Jack's heart pounded in his chest as he processed the weight of the woman's words. You're not just lost? What do you mean by that? The woman shifted in her seat, her hands trembling as she clutched the edge of the table. Her eyes darted between Jack and Mia, searching for something support, maybe, but also fear mingled with desperation. It's complicated. I was staying with a friend, but things went south. Now I'm out on my own. Mia knelt beside her, maintaining a comforting presence. You don't have to explain everything right now. Let us get you something warm to drink. How about a cup of tea? With a small nod, the woman managed a weak smile. That would be nice, thank you. As Jack headed to the counter to pour the tea, he couldn't shake the feeling of unease. This woman was here, vulnerable and seemingly on the edge, and something told him her troubles ran deeper than just the rain. He returned with the steaming cup, placing it gently before her. Here you go. I hope it helps a little. Thank you, she said, her voice soft. She wrapped her hands around the mug, letting the warmth seep into her skin. But then her expression darkened. But I'm afraid it's not just the rain I'm running from. I didn't want to burden you with my problems. Jack exchanged an anxious glance with Mia, who sat patiently, waiting for the woman to continue. What do you mean? Jack pressed gently. You seem like you're carrying something heavy. Tears welled in the woman's eyes, and she took a deep breath. I left home because I didn't feel safe anymore. I'm pregnant, and I'm not sure how I'm going to make it. The room seemed to still as Jack absorbed her words, the gravity of her situation hitting hard. He felt a wave of empathy washing over him. Here was this woman, struggling in the rain, fighting for her future as a mother, and he had thought he had problems. It's okay, Mia said softly, reaching out to the woman's hand, offering comfort. You're not alone anymore. We want to help. The woman squeezed her eyes shut, a single tear escaping. But how? I can't go back. It's not safe. I just thought I could figure it out on my own. Jack's mind raced, formulating ideas, possibilities. What if you stayed with us for a bit? You can have a safe space while you sort everything out. We can help you get resources, even find local support. The woman met his gaze, uncertainty flickering across her face. You really mean that? Of course, Mia chimed in, resolute. No one should have to go through this alone. Jack's heart surged with an unexpected sense of conviction. They were still navigating their own struggles, but now they had a chance to do something bigger. He felt a connection form, binding them all together in shared hopes. Even if they were clouded by challenges, the woman deliberated. Something flickered in her eyes, a glimmer of hope mixed with hesitance. Jack wanted to believe they could be the safety net she needed. But as the seconds stretched, doubt curled back in. What if this decision had consequences they couldn't foresee? What if they were opening up their lives to complications they weren't equipped to handle? The question hung in the air, heavy with uncertainty. Just as he was about to voice his concerns, the woman whispered, Thank you. I think I need this. Jack's heart twisted as he realized that, in helping her, they might find the support they needed too. A fresh start, a chance to prove they were strong enough to face whatever lay ahead. But as they sat in the cafe, an unsettling thought gnawed at the edges of Jack's mind. What if the past was not done with them? What if there were more people chasing the woman, and they were about to get caught in the crossfire? His heart raced at the thought that this was just the beginning of an adventure far beyond what he had imagined. Would they be able to protect her and themselves from whatever darkness loomed just beyond the door? "I'll help you," Jack said slowly, determination settling in. "But we all need to stay vigilant. There's a lot we might not understand yet." The weight of his words hung between them, a flickering candle in a room full of shadows. Would the light hold, or would it snuff out in the winds of uncertainty? Jack glanced at the woman, her name still unknown to him, and felt a wave of protective instinct wash over him. "We'll figure this out," he assured her again, but in the back of his mind, fear nestled in like a stubborn tick. It was the unknown that scared him the most, what lay beyond the friendly atmosphere of the cafe, lurking just outside that glass door. Mia leaned in closer to their guest, gently brushing her thumb over the woman's hand. "What is your name?" she asked, her voice warm and inviting. The charred remnants of anxiety hovered in the air like a misplaced ghost, begging for resolution. "Lucy," she replied, her eyes flickering between gratitude and despair. "My name is Lucy." "Okay, Lucy," Jack said, trying to keep his resolve consistent. "Let us take it one step at a time. Do you have anywhere you could stay tonight?" Lucy shook her head, her expression crumbling. "I was hoping to find a place tonight, but I didn't think I'd get caught in this rain." "Then you should stay with us," Mia said confidently, the kindness radiating off her like sunlight. "It'll be fine. You can rest, dry off, and figure things out." Lucy looked back and forth between them, as if their offer might vanish in the air like the steam rising from her cup. "I don't want to impose nonsense," Jack interjected, a bit more forcefully than intended, but it was necessary. "We can handle it. Just think of it as us paying forward some kindness. We can all use it right now." A hint of a smile broke through her troubled mask. "Thank you. I really don't know what I'd do without you." Feeling energized by the spark of hope in Lucy's eyes, Jack couldn't help but envision her future, her baby growing inside her, with a family ready to step in. That dream lit up a corner of his heart, surprising him. He sensed an inner transformation beginning, one that would connect them all. But doubt still murmured in the recesses of his mind. "What about the people you were running from?" Jack asked cautiously, probing the delicate edges of her situation. He needed to understand the thread, if any, unraveling the full story before it unspooled uncontrollably. Her gaze fell to the table, and Jack saw her shoulders tense. "They might come looking for me. I didn't just leave. I had to go." Mia leaned closer again. "It's okay, you can trust us. If you're worried, we can take some precautions, keep you safe." Jack felt the air vibrate with uncertainty around them. He wished he could promise safety, but the world wasn't promised to be fair. "How serious is it, Lucy? Are they dangerous?" As the silence lingered, Lucy's eyes filled up again, but this time with the weight of her memories, of fear clutching at her throat. "They don't know I'm gone, but if they find out," she swallowed hard, fists tightening. Jack's brown eyes exchanged a fleeting glance with Mia. She couldn't hide her concern either. "Time to step up. No matter what, we're in this together now," he stated firmly. "We'll figure this out. Together." A raw, shaky breath escaped Lucy, and they all held that moment in stillness. But as Mia's hand enveloped Lucy's with warmth, Jack couldn't shake the thought of looming threats, of darkness they couldn't yet see. "What if they come looking for you at our place?" he wondered aloud. The risk was real, and they needed a plan. Lucy raised her chin, determination flickering in the corners of her fear. "Then we'll face them. I want to go back to that life." Jack admired her courage, but questioned if they were ready to face the tide rushing toward them. As the rain battered the window, a part of him wished for clarity, but all he had was the weight of uncertainty pressing against his chest. Would their small act of kindness unravel their lives, pulling them into a chaos that was just beginning to unfold? The hinge of the door creaked, surprising them all, and Jack's gaze snapped toward it. A figure stood outside, half hidden by the rain. The chill of foreboding was palpable. Were they ready for whatever storm was brewing? His heart raced as the stranger stepped forward, and Jack sensed that this was the moment everything could change. What awaited them on the other side of that doorway? Jack's breath caught in his throat as the figure stepped closer, water streaming down from a hooded raincoat. The dim cafe light flickered, casting long shadows across the floor, as if nature itself held its breath in tense anticipation. Mia, he whispered, not daring to take his eyes off the stranger. Do you see that? His voice was barely audible, trembling with a mixture of fear and adrenaline. Mia's grip on Lucy tightened, her warm gaze now shifting toward the newcomer. Let us not startle anyone, she murmured, but her eyes mirrored Jack's concern. Is this about Lucy? The stranger called out, his voice deep and gravelly, slicing through the tension like a knife. Lucy folded her arms protectively around herself, her fingers digging into her skin as she stepped back slightly. I don't know you, she stammered, her voice betraying her uncertainty. Jack instinctively moved to position himself between Lucy and the door. Who are you? He demanded, feeling an unfamiliar surge of anger bubble within him. What do you want? The stranger shrugged off his raincoat, sending droplets flying across the floor. Jack couldn't tell if it was the reflection of the flickering overhead lights or something darker, but there was a coldness in the man's eyes that sent shivers down his spine. Just here to make sure she's all right, he replied, his tone deceptively calm. I'm not here to hurt her. The air felt thick with distrust as silence wrapped around them, tension taut as a drawn bowstring. Jack shifted, fists clenched, uncertain of how to protect Lucy from the unknown. Really? He said slowly, his voice edged with skepticism. You expect us to believe you just randomly showed up in a storm? Good point, the stranger replied, stepping further inside, blurring the line between fear and curiosity. But a storm's not the only thing brewing. She made a choice, and it won't go unchallenged. Mia's heart sank. Lucy, what did you get yourself into? She whispered, her voice wavering with empathy and concern. Lucy finally lifted her head, fear mingling with fire. I want to go back, she declared, her voice now steadier. I'd rather face 100 storms than that life. Well said, the stranger replied, a flicker of admiration piercing his stern demeanor. But courage doesn't guarantee safety. Jack took a step forward, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. I won't let anything happen to her, he said, steadfast. Not on my watch. The stranger's eyes narrowed, evaluation running through his gaze. That's commendable, he said slowly, but you don't know what you're up against. Not yet. What does that mean? Mia asked, her voice trembling slightly. She felt the urgency in the air, like a match struck in a dry forest. The stranger hesitated, weighing his words carefully. There are people who care about her in ways you can't understand. This isn't just about Lucy anymore. As those words lingered, a sense of urgency bubbled beneath Jack's skin. Who were these people? What kind of past had Lucy been running from? He held Lucy's gaze, searching for reassurance. All he found was fear, a flicker that ignited a fierce determination. With a clever smile, the stranger crossed his arms. You'll need more than hope to weather this storm. Are you ready for that? Lucy's breath caught, her eyes darting between Jack and the stranger. The weight of the moment settled heavily, but determination ignited within her. I'm ready, she said, her voice a shade more confident. Jack turned back to the man. If you know something, then share it. It's the only way we stand a chance. The stranger paused, considering them, evaluating their resolve. Very well. But remember, the fight you're stepping into is bigger than you think. Jack felt the ground beneath him shift. Were they truly ready for whatever lay ahead? As rain continued to pour against the cafe windows, the truth felt ominously close, yet still elusive. Mia, he said quietly, catching her gaze. Whatever happens next, we face it together. The stranger clenched his jaw, unveiling more questions than answers. The weight of the future pressed against them all as he finally spoke, the truth hanging like a thread in the air. You may have just sealed your fate. In that moment, Jack felt a chill run down his spine. What would that fate look like? And would it tear them apart or bring them closer together? The unknown now loomed larger than ever, an unrelenting specter on the horizon. The tension hung thick in the air as Jack, Mia, and Lucy faced the stranger, whose authority filled the small cafe like a shadow. Jack glanced at Mia, her determination carved deep into her features, and at Lucy, whose vulnerability now clashed with a newfound resolve. What do you mean by that? Jack pressed. You say you care for Lucy. It sounds ominous. The stranger's expression softened momentarily before hardening again. There are forces at play here, ones you're not ready to confront. Protecting Lucy means embracing the uncertainty that comes with it. Then let us in, Mia challenged, her eyes ablaze. We want to help her. We're in this together. A flicker of respect crossed the stranger's face. You don't know what you're asking for, young lady. You're treading dangerous waters. But Jack could see it now. The stranger wasn't here just to threaten. He wanted them to understand. We won't back down, Jack declared, feeling the surge of his own conviction echoing in his chest. Then prepare yourselves, the man replied, his voice steady. There are others involved, those with interest in Lucy's well-being that may not align with yours. And they won't hesitate to come after what they believe belongs to them. Lucy is not a possession, Jack shot back, feeling his protective instincts rise. As the words left his mouth, Lucy stepped forward, her voice unyielding. I'm more than what you think I am, she said, a spark igniting in her eyes. I want to go back to that life. Silence stretched between them, the stakes upheaving like a rising tide. Jack felt a new bond forge among them, one not just of shared goals, but of shared risk. So what is the plan? Jack asked, redirecting his focus. We can't let whatever is coming intimidate us. The stranger studied them closely. You'll need safe space, find allies who can help. Look for those grounded in the community. The support you seek isn't just physical, it's emotional. Mia stepped up beside Jack, emboldened by their collective resolve. We can rally the community, she said. I believe in this place. We stand together. The stranger nodded slowly. In numbers, there is strength, but also vulnerability. You must remain vigilant. Keep those you trust close and your enemies closer. With that, he turned, pausing at the door. Prepare. They'll come. As the door swung shut behind him, a gust of wind swept through the cafe, causing a shiver to race through Jack's spine. What do we do? Lucy's voice trembled slightly, revealing her apprehension. Jack felt a wave of determination surge within him. We start by creating a plan. Let us gather the community and launch that event I talked about. But this time, it'll be more than just a rallying cry. It will be a call to arms. Mia visibly relaxed, her eyes lighting up. We can use this as an opportunity to bring awareness, to let people know Lucy's story. With the right framework, we can create a movement. Lucy's face softened. You'd do that for me? Of course, Jack affirmed. We're doing this together. We believe in you. You have your own story that deserves to be told. Hours turned into days as they threw themselves into preparations, rallying friends, neighbors, and local allies. Jack felt his connection with Mia deepen as they brainstormed together, each idea igniting more passion in their hearts. One evening, while they gathered supplies in Mia's small apartment, Jack watched as she meticulously crafted flyers for their event, her brow furrowed in concentration. This is going to work, he said confidently, and her radiant smile melted any lingering doubt. As the day of the event approached, a mixture of excitement and apprehension coursed through the air. Jack stood at the front of a small community center, the room buzzing with activity, the walls adorned with colorful posters of encouragement. Today, we're not just helping Lucy, Jack said, raising his voice above the murmur. We're bringing hope to anyone who has felt lost. Together, we fight for change. Cheers rang through the room, a cord of solidarity binding them all. When Lucy stepped onto the makeshift stage, her expression was one of fierce grace. I'm here not just to share my story, she began, her powerful voice breaking the tension, but to show that we can rewrite our futures together. As her words resonated, an electric energy filled the space, creating a palpable warmth that ignited hope in the hearts of those gathered. Jack couldn't help but feel the power of transformation in the room. They were a community united and ready to face whatever storm might come. In the ensuing weeks, they established a network of support, helping families and individuals like Lucy. Each connection reinforced their mission while binding them together in bonds of friendship and purpose. But just as they began to see glimpses of change, the shadows of their past resurfaced. One chilly evening, as their group wrapped up a meeting, Jack's phone buzzed, a message tinged with fear from Lucy. They found me. We need to talk. Adrenaline surged through him, fear drumming in his chest. Jack caught Mia's worried gaze. We'll face this, he assured her, gripping her hand. We're in this together. We won't let fear dictate our lives. But uncertainty loomed ahead, a dark cloud that threatened to overshadow their hard-earned progress. No matter what happens, we hold on to each other, Mia whispered, determination cutting through the fear. Jack knew that their journey would demand everything they had, but the collective strength they had built was invincible. Together, they would rise against the storm, refusing to let their circumstances dictate their fate. And so, with hearts united and fierce resolve, they took the first step forward into the uncertain night, a step toward their destined transformation, and the light that lay just beyond the shadows. You need to subscribe now to our channel to stay on this journey and witness what comes next. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and keep these stories alive. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your engagement matters, and only true fans understand the importance of lifting our voices together.